In the village of Abodo, while other young girls prayed to the gods for a husband who possessed a kind heart and a strong arm for farming, Chioma prayed only to the god of the market. Chioma was a maiden of extraordinary beauty, with skin like polished ebony and eyes that could make a warrior lay down his spear. Yet, her heart was as cold as river stones in the harmattan. She had seen her mother die of poverty, buried in a shallow grave because they could not afford the village burial rites. She watched her sisters marry poor palm wine tappers, their hands growing calloused and their spirits broken by endless labor. "I would rather marry a spirit from the underworld than spend my youth fetching water from a dried well," Chioma often boasted to her friends beneath the udala tree. Her words were reckless, but in the world of folktales, the winds carry such words directly to ears that do not sleep. One evening, during the festival of the New Yam, a strange man entered Abodo. He wore a heavy, embroidered white wrapper made of silk so fine it seemed to glide on the dust. He went by the name of Mazi Ezenwa. His hands were smooth, untouched by famine, and he was accompanied by servants who carried chests overflowing with bronze, coral beads, and bags of cowries. Every maiden in the village held her breath as Ezenwa passed. But it was Chioma he looked at. When he spoke, his voice was like a deep drum echoing from a cave. "I have searched many lands for a woman worthy of my palace," Ezenwa told her, placing a heavy necklace of pure coral around her neck. "I will make you the wealthiest woman in 7 villages. But my wealth comes with a strict condition." Chioma's heart danced with greed. She did not ask where his palace was, nor why his servants never looked anyone in the eye. "Tell me the condition, my lord," she whispered, clutching the heavy coral beads. Ezenwa leaned close, his breath strangely cold, smelling of dried leaves and old earth. "We shall marry, and I will build you a mansion of stone in this village. But I am a man of the night. I will only visit your chambers after the 3rd owl hoots at midnight, and I must depart before the first cock crows. Most importantly, you must never, under any circumstances, light a lamp or strike a match when I am in your room. We must dwell only in the dark. If you ever see my face in the light, the wealth will vanish, and the night will claim its death." An elder of the village, a blind herbalist named Dibia Okeke, pulled Chioma aside that night. "My daughter, do not touch this gold," the old man warned, his hand trembling on his staff. "This man has no shadow, and his feet do not fully press into the soil. He is a ghost who died of greed in his past life, bound to return to buy the souls of the living. Flee from him." But Chioma only laughed, her mind blinded by the glittering chest of bronze. "If he is a ghost, then he is a rich ghost. Let him buy my poverty, and I will gladly give him my nights," she sneered, echoing the foolishness of the greedy husbands who ran toward castles for a taste of wealth. The wedding was the grandest Abodo had ever seen. The next morning, a magnificent stone mansion stood where Chioma's mud hut once was. Cows were slaughtered, palm wine flowed like rivers, and Chioma wore wrappers woven from gold thread. That night, Chioma waited in her dark chambers. Exactly at midnight, after the 3rd hoot of the owl, she heard slow, heavy footsteps. The wooden door creaked open. The room grew freezing cold, frost forming on her clay water pots. A hand, icy and smooth, touched her face. Ezenwa sat beside her. They did not speak of love, nor did they laugh under the stars. He only placed gold coins into her hands, their metallic clinking the only sound in the suffocating darkness. Before the sky turned grey, he vanished. For months, Chioma lived like a queen. The village women who once pitied her poor family now bowed before her. She had everything she had ever dreamed of. But slowly, a dark disease began to fester in her mind. Curiosity. "Why does he hide his face?" she whispered to herself during the day. What is he hiding? If I can see where he keeps his spiritual wealth, I can steal the source and never have to wait in the dark again. Her greed, which had once been satisfied by his gold, now demanded his secrets. One rainy night, the thunder roared violently, shaking the pillars of the stone mansion. The wind howled like the spirits of the ancestors. Ezenwa arrived, colder than usual. As he lay in the dark, Chioma felt his chest. It did not rise or fall. There was no heartbeat. A terrifying realization crept over her, but instead of fear, her mind turned to cunning. Quietly, she reached under her pillow. She had hidden an oil lamp and a box of matches she had secretly bought from a trader in the neighboring town. With trembling fingers, she struck a match. The small flame hissed, tearing through the sacred darkness of the room. She lit the lamp and held it over her husband's face. Chioma gasped, her voice catching in her throat. The man lying beside her was not a handsome billionaire. The flesh on half of his face had rotted away, revealing a grinning, hollow white skull. His eyes were empty sockets burning with a dim, ghostly blue flame. His rich silk wrapper covered a body made of dry, rattling bones and decaying earth. The ghost Ezenwa opened his skeletal jaws and let out a chilling, echoing roar that shook the very foundation of the mansion. "Greedy child," the ghost hissed, his voice like dry leaves scraping against a tombstone. Asterisk, you were warned. You wanted my wealth, but you could not obey the simple covenant of the night. Asterisk. Instantly, the blue flames from the ghost eyes leapt onto the oil lamp, exploding into a massive wall of fire. Chioma screamed, running out of the room as the ghostly flames chased her. She burst through the front doors into the pouring rain. As she watched, the grand stone mansion began to dissolve into grey smoke, melting away into the muddy earth. The gold coins in her hands turned into dry, withered leaves. Her expensive gold wrappers transformed into tattered rags. The next morning, the villagers woke to a pitiful sight. Where the grand mansion once stood, there was only a patch of scorched, barren earth. Chioma, once the proudest and wealthiest bride in the region, was found wandering barefoot through the village square. Her beautiful face was untouched, but her eyes were wild and empty. She carried a burnt oil lamp, muttering to the wind, begging the dark for a single coin of gold. She had married a ghost for riches, and in her greed, she had lost both the wealth and her sanity, becoming a living warning to all who seek shortcuts to prosperity. Key takeaways and moral lesson. The trap of easy riches. Like Sabrina's husbands who ran towards madness out of greed, Chioma's story warns that wealth obtained through spiritual compromises always extracts a devastating price. The danger of insatiable curiosity. When we break sacred boundaries out of greed, we uncover truths that are too heavy for our minds to bear.